What is up, YouTube? Today I wanted to show you my rebuild of the Raspberry Pi KODI XBMC server media player thing. And basically I've done a lot of new things to it. Aside from aesthetics like etching in this KODI Raspberry Pi logo into the aluminum case and adding this nice little power button here. There aren't a bunch of software upgrades other than the official KODI releases and this little power button, which is just a little bit of Java, or not Java, I'm sorry, Python. So basically it's the same thing. I have done a lot of hardware changes. So there's a fan that has been added. This is just the IP address, the static IP address for the network. I have cut out the slots properly this time. I added a real barrel jack connector that is screw mounted, and basically everything is just better hardware wise and assembly. So if I press this button right now it's off, TV is off or nothing. So if I press this button, the light turns blue, a relay clicks on, and now the Raspberry Pi is booting. So take this apart while this is booting. It's just the 4 thumb screws of the original drive that lifts away. So I'm still using the standard 2.5 inch padded disk drives. The original buck converter is in there from the 12 volt in, so it goes all the way through this relay, and then it's powered by this junk over here, this power management button bullshit that I made, and then it goes to this buck converter after the relay clicks on. There's the Wi-Fi module, which is just a Realtek 8187B chipset. The Raspberry Pi. This keyboard isn't normally plugged in. I just have it plugged in since I brought it home and I had to configure it to the home network instead of my school's network. And then just the regular Raspberry Pi B+. This is not the Raspberry Pi 2. There are 4 wires coming off of the header, which snake all the way to this control circuitry over here. Basically, it's off, and when you first plug it in, it's just off. And then as soon as you hit the button, it triggers a latch, and it keeps the latch on as long as this big capacitor right here is charged. And then as soon as when it's charged, this relay clicks on, turns on the buck converter, turns on the Raspberry Pi, and powers the Wi-Fi and the hard drive modules. And then as soon as the Raspberry Pi kicks on, it tells in a cron job. It runs a cron job to start up a Python script to enable 1 pin high, and it keeps this big capacitor charged, and it will keep it charged. If I press the button, it basically tells in the Python script to send a sudo shutdown -h now command, and then it shuts down the Raspberry Pi. I want to add another latch mechanism so that if it's off, it's basically when you turn it off, the Raspberry Pi in software is off, but this hardware itself, this latch mechanism, is still on for another 4 minutes. So I basically, within that 4 minutes, if I wanted to turn it back on, I can't. I have to unplug it and then plug it back in to reset this capacitor. But yeah, so it'll just be another latch to hit the reset on the Raspberry Pi itself to turn it back on. But since I do that so infrequently and I leave this on basically 24/7 in my house, I don't really find a need to. I could also just shorten this time, but the capacitor charge time, and that would fix the problem. But I chose that, or I think it's not really important to. So there's just a bunch of parts in here. It's got 2 optocouplers. I don't know if you can see that. It's got a 50/50 RGB LED, but I'm only using red and blue, obviously. There are a couple NPN transistors, resistors, and all that unnecessary stuff, or unnecessary passive components, I'm sorry. So basically the optocouplers are just a really easy way to to do a level conversion from the 12 volts to 3.3 volts on the Raspberry Pi, because you don't want to blow the ass out of that. Fan control, I was going to do that in software. Basically right now it's just using the big resistor to lower the voltage. I have in software, it is running. There's a pin that triggers a fan to turn on and off when the CPU or GPU, whatever, has the sensor on it. So that will trigger the fan, but it's not like a PWM controlled thing. It's just like an on-off. And I didn't really want that, so like I was just like, resistor is high enough constant that I can keep the ambient temperature within a good range. But yeah, when it's on my bed like this, it's obviously not ideal. But it does work very well, and it keeps it much cooler than it used to be. Especially during summer, which it's pretty hot in my house, so yeah. So, up above is the TV. Let me find my phone. I use the Yahtzee app. So that provides me with basic interface. So right now I just have it go to Yahoo as my weather. So I'll go back. And obviously it's the same as before, where you know, I have music on here. I have it in the 2 separate hard drives, so Pi Disk 1 and Pi Disk 2. Focus. But yeah, Pi Disk 1 and Pi Disk 2, which contain my folders and files and all that stuff. You know, video, it's all the same. So like, yeah, you can basically, that's all local storage. You can access this hard drives on the network, and basically, so yeah, like if you wanted to just send it a video, send it a picture from your phone, you can access it through the Samba server, or through I believe you can do it through the HTTP, but I'm not sure. I don't really use it that often. Most of the time I just stream. So like, since the YouTube app is installed on this, it can grab Google Video stuff. So if I go to YouTube, maybe that won't cause me a copyright. I'll just, you know, some kind of a proximity stuff. If I hit the share button, I can do either play on Media Center or queue on Media Center, but I'll just do play. And since it's already automatically configured with the static IPs, it just works right away. I don't have to select, and it should just work. There it is. And this will also work for Kiss Anime, Kiss Cartoon, Kiss Asia, everything that uses the Google service basically as their video stream. So I'm gonna pause it. I can go back to the Yahtzee app and pause. And then obviously I can still do all the Raspberry Pi, or not all the Raspberry Pi things, the Kodi things, like check the weather and blah blah blah. And of course add-ons do work on the Raspberry Pi, which you already know if you've done this kind of project before. But yeah, basically the Yahtzee app, I would recommend that you buy the unlocker. That way you can like stream the video from your phone directly. Say like you recorded a video at a party and you just want to show it on the TV. You can stream the whole video. But yeah, that's basically it. Software is software. That can change any moment. But yeah, basically it's this hardware. If you want me to make a video on this latching circuit and explain how it works and give out the code, then I will do a video on that. Just comment below and I'll try my best. Yes, just some Kapton tape to keep that from rubbing and shorting out because the fan and the hard drive vibrate. But yeah, so I'll press the button. Try to get this in a 2-shot here. I guess not. So, button. You can see the lights are flashing. TV has turned blue. And that classic Raspberry Pi 4 flashes or whatever means it is shut down. In 4 minutes the light will turn red, or you know, if you just want to do a quick reset, you can unplug it. But yeah, in 4 minutes this latch turns off, as you know, as done by this capacitor right here, which I believe is yeah, 1000 microfarads, and then the whole system will just shut off, and then it will wait for you to press the button again, and it will relatch on. But yeah, while it's in this state, I think you can still do a network boot. So like you can force it to turn on using the Yahtzee app, because see, the network is still available. But I haven't tried it yet, and normally I don't really need to do that. Normally this thing stays on all the time, but yeah, see, like if I press it, it still stays blue. The Pi does not boot, but yeah, normally when I press it, it's just because I want it off, like I'm going somewhere. I just want to turn it off in case, who knows, it could catch fire or something. I highly doubt. I've had it on for like months at a time and it would still be working. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'm just going to leave that right there. That looks